Just need to update you guys on the ARP plan. That was the grant for COVID funds. It was the third grant. It was $1,283,000 that was given to us over a period of 3 years. Primarily, it was supposed to be used to prevent learning loss and to also improve social emotional learning and things of that nature. So this is what we've spent the money on so far. So summer learning, we spent $202,179. That was for summer school for the 22 and 21 summers. We spent it on tutoring. We spent $30,000 in the 22-23 school year. We spent $14,000 in the 21-22 school year for a total of $45,000. Instructional supports, that went to a new position, an administrative position, the director of instructional supports, whose job it was to improve our curriculum and create a high impact professional development program for our teachers. And then enhanced learning environments. These were things like the makerspace. That's where the money for all of the equipment in the makerspace came from. This that you're looking at right here, this audio-visual equipment in both buildings was paid for by this grant. The rock wall, which currently adorns the wall at the elementary school, and the fitness center equipment as well. So that was done to improve some of our learning spaces. The other funds were funds like we used for substitute teachers. Oh, I'll go through it all again real quick. This is my first slide. I'm just kind of going over what we spent our ARP funds on. There you go. You can hang out if you want to talk grants. So Tracy, I was just going through that we spent on tutoring, summer learning, instructional supports, enhanced learning environments, which is the fitness center, the gym over at the elementary school, the maker space, and the audiovisual equipment. The other equipment you've seen came from 2 of the other COVID grants. And then the other line was largely the full-time substitutes we had for the first year. That was to make sure that we could stay open, because at that point in time you had to go quarantine for virtually everything. And that leaves us, we've spent $1,064,000, which leaves us with just shy of $220,000 left to spend. Now, the school, in order to spend that, this is just basically going to say, I probably should have switched over to this first. So this is going to show that we ran the programs, the tutoring, the college program is part of the other as well. The $56,000 in that second year was our college program. That was for tuition and for college stipends for teachers for teaching college courses. The result, so the purpose of the ARP was to prevent learning loss. We had to have some measure of how we succeeded in that. So what we did was we took the state report card data from 2018 and 19, which was the last non-COVID year, and compared it to 2021-22, which had our, 22-23 to show our most recent year after COVID with full data. Because during 19 and 20, the last 3 months, we were pretty much closed, and in 2021, we had hybrid learning. So 21-22 and 22-23 were the first years where we were back in school full-time and that we had decent data. Indicator levels, as you guys know, but for people at home, they're just like a regular report card, so they try to make it the school report card like similar to an elementary school. They grade you 1, 2, 3, and 4. I only use the top line data. There might be 1 or 2 categories. The data is exhaustive. Of course, they go 3 through 8, math, ELA, social studies, science, everything. The state, however, on the report card at the very top combines it into just one overall score. We did improve on virtually every single individual line, but for the purposes of this presentation, I just used what our scores were and what they were at the end of 21-22. So all students, the comp is comprehensive performance and growth. They took all of the scores, combined them into one model. That went from 2 to 3 for all students. And then those were the demographics they kept. We don't have a large our population isn't quite as diverse, so they don't keep data if there aren't enough students to present data on. So these were the subgroups that they had it on. Economically disadvantaged between 18 and 19 and 21 and 22, they are doing much better, which is where we did target a lot of funding. Aside from the COVID grants, we also targeted our targeted school improvement grants towards that group, and that group, their test scores are doing amazing now. This is the elementary wide, and middle school. They lump them together, 3 to 8. Chronic absenteeism improved. We had several groups that were 1s. It's still not good. It's 2. It needs to improve, but it's improved from where we were. So compared to what we were pre-COVID, we're actually doing better than we were before COVID started. And the state's big concern was that you're going to be worse off than when you had started COVID. That doesn't seem to be the case based on the data we have. Again, I could go comprehensive. I am going to make available the school report cards online if anybody wants to look at the whole comprehensive thing. It is a lot of pages, which is why New York boils it down to a few numbers to help you guys understand. The secondary school, so your high school, all students went from 2 to 4 in terms of comprehensive performance. They did not have data for me for economically disadvantaged and students with disability, unfortunately. I'm not sure why that was, if it just wasn't posted or what they did there. Again, chronic absenteeism improved across all of the demographics in the high school as well. So an FS10A is going to be required to spend any more money out of this grant. So when you first file for a grant, especially one that takes 3 years to spend, you don't know exactly what you're going to spend. So for instance, in the first year, I might say, I estimate I'm going to have 16 summer school teachers, and I only ended up with 12. In order to spend the money from the 4 that I didn't have, I need to do an amendment to my original budget. So what we've got left is about $220,000. Now, the school intends to, but is willing to solicit input from anybody because we haven't filed our FS10A. We intend to, we did summer learning over the summer. You can use the funds retroactively. We would like to use the funds for that. Continuing the college program is a high priority. We would like to continue tutoring and morning enrichment over at the elementary school if possible. And enhancing after-school activities, those are the clubs. We're running a lot more clubs than we used to. Any other ideas are welcome. Right now, the summer school costs around $90,000 this year. The college program in total is going to cost in the neighborhood of $60,000. That's $37,000 tuition and $25,000 for stipends. It's about $62,000 for the summer program. That leaves about $70,000 left that isn't sort of already accounted for. And then I do believe tutoring will run in the $20,000, and that's why I said we have about 50 grand left. So between 20 and 30, so we have 40 and 50 that isn't spoken for now. That doesn't mean you can't change it, but the budget for this year was designed with the hope that we would be using the money for those things. So if you don't, then we have to modify our existing budget and spend less in other areas to make up for that. But that's where we're at with that. I do think we will be putting together a committee for the FS10A before we submit it. I'd like to submit it sometime in December. The grant funds have to be suspended by next September, 2024. Although I do believe they just did an extension into 2025. The original grant period was through 2024. And that's all I had.